Hello, everybody. weebrabbit here, and welcome back to the Otaku Overload Podcast, episode 63. Apologies for missing last week. Stuff just came up, got busy with a lot of personal life stuff, and honestly didn't really have too much to talk about. And, we'll get to that a little bit later. But the point is, we obviously missed a week. It is what it is. Gotta admit, it's kind of hard to record these sometimes. It takes a lot of time and effort and stuff. But we're back this week. That's what matters. We got some stuff to talk about. There's definitely been some news, especially from the Nintendo side of things, which is kind of cool. And yeah, we'll get into that in a moment, But before that, of course, Legend of Jonathan, my co-host, is here. Hello, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. How about, you? Because you said that, you got busy, how are you doing right now when you speak?
I'm doing all right. Still kind of busy with stuff here and there. Editing, trying to, really finish off, some of these LPs that we've been doing. It's been like taking so long.
Mm-hmm.
They've just been like really long, and so a lot of editing and trying to get, episodes up and, personal life stuff and just a lot of things. But I'm doing all right, not doing bad. So, that's the good news.
Yeah, that's pretty understandable. I've been pretty busy too, and I'm about to mention that in a bit, now.
Yeah, I got you. But yeah, let's just dive into this, I guess. Talk about what you've been doing for the last week or two, and we'll just go from there, I guess, as usual. So if you're ready, after the last time we recorded the whole Darien the Franks, that was like a big weight off your shoulders. What
Oh
else
my
have you?
God, yeah.
Yeah, right. Just oh my God. So what else have you been up to?
Okay, so to start off my week, I watched Urusei Yatsura as always, Um, the first half of the episode, basically it's just like think of it like Freaky Friday, where like two characters swap bodies, that's kind of it. The whole episode is just kind of like that first half was that Ataru and Ten, they like buy these weird alien earmuffs from some like alien dude in disguise, and they decide to put them on, but then they swap bodies. And so Ataru purposely tries to pretend to be an innocent baby
Oh God, I
using
can already
Ten's
see where this is.
body.
I can already see where this is
Yeah.
going. Like, oh
Yeah, so
no.
he starts being a perv, and Sakura's the only one that knows that there's something up with Ten, because every single time that like Ataru flies at Sakura, at first she's happy to see him, but then she like freaks out like the very last second, and she slaps him as he's like heading to, like, she's like, the moment he's about to make impact, she reacts like instinctively, basically. Like
Hmm.
she like, and so like that's when people are like, what the heck, like, are you hitting him, and she's like, I don't know, like, it's just like I felt something weird, like his aura was like too off, and so she does that through an episode. And yeah, eventually at the end, basically what happens is that Sakura swaps bodies with what is it? I think it's a Taru. And then basically what happens is from there it gets messed up again. So then he swaps bodies with himself. So he's like back in his body. Then Ten swaps bodies with Cherry. And then Cherry swaps bodies with Sakura, and Sakura and Ten swap bodies at the end.
Okay. Yeah, I
And
know.
so they start arguing. They start arguing. And then like the alien dude, he's like, "Oh, I thought like people liked earmuffs because Earthlings, they wear these things." But then it's confirmed that on that planet where like the alien guy comes from, they use earmuffs as a way like getting stronger, basically, like them swapping bodies and like working together, basically.
Huh.
And so they were like basically making like or earmuffs because they thought that like if they did that they would make a profit off of it. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Very weird.
Yeah,
Was
yeah,
it, was
very.
it, it sounds weird. Was it funny? Seeing all the people swapped and stuff, or how was it?
Yeah, it was honestly kind of funny. I just feel like it was just very similar to the original, so that's kind of why I kind of skipped through it more, because
Okay.
there was nothing that was really changed except like the English subs, because
Gotcha.
like High Dive's translation more like up to date, I guess, with like slang.
Oh, okay. But it was really
And
similar. It wasn't like one of those episodes where you're like, oh, I can see it being updated. They changed some things. It was very like it's basically the same, basically. Yeah, I
yeah,
gotcha.
it was like pretty similar because like the only thing that changed was like I think like Ataru says something like when he's in Ten's body, Sakura's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like, because he's trying to like grab her boobs, and he's like, "I'm a baby. I'm supposed to grab your boobs," or something like that. And so it's like, oh my God, this dude,
Oh
I
my
think that's
God.
like yeah, you know what I mean? Well, on the original one, I think he always says something like, "No, like I'm the same Ten, don't worry," or some creepy thing like that. And so she just kind of like tries like, and so here it's kind of like he just changes it. They kind of change that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotcha.
The second half is where it is important because this is the first time they adapted like the eighth chapter in the manga, which is the one where it introduces um possibly Ataru's future son. And basically the way this episode starts off is that Ataru, he wakes up late, he's trying to get to school on time, but he can't make it on time. So then Lum says that she knows a way to get to school. And so she opens a portal through like a trash can.
Why a
And
trash can?
well, because that was like the closest object that was kind of like a pipe, kind of like a
Uh,
Mario pipe if you think about it.
oh, interesting. Okay.
So she has to do it only through physical objects that can technically open up. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And so she does that where it's like actually not even a trash can, it's like an oil can. But either way, like she tries to do that. And so okay, like she opens the portal, they fall through, and Ataru, like he realizes that, oh yeah, it is my school. But then when he goes to his class, he notices that the school is completely empty. But when he opens the door, he sees a bunch of grown people in like the room. And he's all surprised. He's like, "Hey, like, who are these people? Like, what are they doing here?" And then like, this group of guys, they go up to him and they're like, "Hey, like, who are you? Like, you're like a kid. Like, what are you doing here? You aren't supposed to be here because like it's a Sunday or something like that." And then they're like, "Wait a minute, you look so much like that one dude, Ataru." And they're like, "Yeah, don't you remember Ataru, guys? Like, Ataru was like that weird perverted dude we were friends with back in high school." And they're
Yeah,
like
nice.
laughing. Yeah, and they're like, "Yeah, like I wonder what he's up to." And then and then what's funny is because Mendo and Ryunosuke, they weren't created during that chapter, they actually added dialogue that suggest in this future scenario what they're up to. And they asked her like, "Oh, what's Mendo up to?" And they're like, "Oh, you know how Mendo is. He's like traveling the world right now, and like they said he might be like in the United States as they were speaking or something like that. Something like that, like saying like he was across the world. And then they were like, "What about like Ryunosuke?" And oh, it's like she's trying to help her dad open up like a new shop like on Mount Fuji. And they start laughing because they say about how like the dad is so stupid still for like being weird. Um, and then basically Ataro's like, wait, if this is like, like if these people are supposed to be like people I know, then where's like Onsen Mark? And then like that's when they're like talking about Onsen Mark and they make it sound like he died.
Oh
But
God.
then they show him and he's like bald and he's like all stressed out. And so they start laughing at him saying that like oh it's nice to see you again, but they like make fun of him and stuff. Um But then, yeah, like they just show like what the other people are up to, and like the teacher being alive still, all that stuff. And then, Ataro freaks out because he's like realizing the reality that like he's like in the future. And you see that outside Lum is like reading a little diagnostic thing on her like I guess she has like a little tablet, and she's like, "Oh my God, we teleported like 10 years into the future." And so that's when like he goes to confront her and says like, "What the hell are we doing in the future?" And she's like, "I know it. I don't know. I guess I configured it too wrong. And then there's this little ugly little kid outside that he's drooling all over Ataru because he had lunch with him. And it's that, yeah, this kid, he's just there. And they're like, okay, like who the hell's this kid? And they go to hang out with him for a bit. And that's when Lum and Ataru ask him, like, what's your name? And he says, like, he literally like stops everything he's doing. And in like the most dumbest way possible, he just goes, "I'm Kokiro Moriboshi, and he like says it, like really proud and like sudden. And so they're like, what the heck? Like, who's this kid? Moriboshi, and like, his first name. And that's when Lum checks to see if it's like her kid, and he doesn't have any horns.
Huh.
So she starts crying. And that's when like Ataru's like, wait, if Lum's not the mom, then who's my mom? Like, who's my mom? Who's the kid's mom, And so they try to go to look for like the mom. And what happens is Ataru sees this really old lady hug the kid. And so he gets the wrong image, and he's like, ew, I end up with that old lady. And so they walk away, Ataru and Lum all disappointed. And you can tell that both of them look really like stressed, and like Lum's eyes are all red from crying. Um, but then off camera, like you literally hear someone else's voice, which is supposed to be like Shinobu's, and then it shows Shinobu as like an adult. And it's confirmed that basically in that future, Ataru and Shinobu got married and had a kid.
Oh, that's funny. Interesting.
Yeah. And the reason why I'm saying that whole episode is very interesting is because basically it ends where okay, like they're both disappointed because get it, like this isn't the future they wanted, especially because Ataru didn't even know who he got married to, you know what I mean? um but basically it shows that, yeah, there's this rabbit dude, which I've mentioned before, he's running through this like weird subspace, and there's these doors around him, and kind of like the white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland, he drops like a doorknob quick, and he picks it up quick, like all panicky, and he's like, I'm late, they're so gonna kill me or something like that, and he like runs off, and it says like to be continued.
Oh, okay. So it's not just like a one-off thing. They're gonna like explore this little arc for a while, I'm guessing. Interesting.
And so like the next episode even says, like, I forgot what it says, but it says like the guy's name, which is like, yeah, like not I was gonna say Roru, uh, like, yeah, like the rabbit dude. I've mentioned his name before, but I forgot it right now. But it says like, oh, like the traveler, and it even says like part one.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Interesting.
So yeah, that's gonna be like the next episode. And I'm pretty hyped for it because it's cool that they're like actually changing stuff up around here.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. It's fun having these little alternate universe sort of things too. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And this is where it goes kind of like, because I've talked about the other one. I played the newest Dragon Ball Z Kakarot DLC, which I didn't even know it was coming out this soon. Like I knew it came out this month, but like literally like 2 days after the podcast came out, the last one, like the one before this one, they literally just dropped it out of nowhere. Like they literally just announced it, where they're like, "Oh yeah, the game's coming out in like 2 days."
Nice.
And so I played it. It's really cool because we already knew that it was going to be like the end of Z, which is like the fight against Oob and all that stuff in the tournament. Yeah, so it's the same thing. It's very short. Um, the only reason why it might be more longer is because of the ground combat, and because there's not really a necessity to grind. So like the bosses are more slow, I guess you could say. But what makes it interesting is that they added so much freaking extra content to this DLC. Like literally. Because you have a thing called extra mode, which has literally a new arc that takes place after the Oob arc, basically. And then you can literally refight bosses from like the base game, but I think it's supposed to be like harder and with like new move sets and stuff. And then literally another thing they added was that like basically you can go and then unlock the new moves in the base game. And then I think after doing that, you can like go and use them in any DLC.
That's pretty cool. I mean, this is the
Yeah.
last DLC for this though, right? For this game.
Well, that I think is sure, but at the same time, there is plans where I think they did say that if they wanted to, they might look into wanting to continue it. So for now, it's postponed. So we don't know for sure. But I would say that since they kind of said it before, then I would just say that yes, this is the last one then, I guess. You know what I
I was
mean?
gonna say that's what would make sense why their this last update was like so big and so much stuff because it's kind of like a way to like send it off, you know?
Yeah, because especially because the way the DLC ends is with a little is with a thank you message, and it has like all the characters like waving at the camera, kind of like 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 the final panel in the manga where it's like everyone waving at the camera.
Hmm.
Um, they use that as like the image after the credits. So yeah, you assume that this must be like the final DBZ like DLC basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as I'm saying, that's I would think that's why it would make sense that they added maybe so much content because it's like, well, this is the last thing we're doing for this game, so might as well make it like a nice big chunky, DLC or whatever, lot of content. So
And I thought it was pretty cool, especially because I haven't finished extra mode. I definitely am gonna do it. But dang, like that like extra arc though, it really is hard because basically the way it starts off is you have to fight every single antagonist that you've fought in the base game. So it starts off with Frieza. No, wait. Yeah, Frieza. Then it gets to Majin Buu. But the problem is you have to do it in one go.
oh, so it's like it's a boss rush mode then.
Yeah, but like unlike other games where like sometimes they give you like a little like pause to kind of like whatever. No, this is like a literal like you have to go through it one try or else you have to like restart from the start basically.
Yeah,
Like
it
literally,
depends on the game. Some games have done that for boss rush mode where it's just like a never, I mean, a no stop, no rest, just one next fight, next fight, next fight, you know.
yeah, so that's the thing. And then after that, basically I know for sure I think it ends where like you have to fight Vegeta. Like later on you go to like the desert and fight him again. And it's like a rematch between the two of them. And it ends with like it being like a draw or something like that. Because apparently
Interesting.
Goku and Vegeta are so strong, there's no way for one of them to be stronger than the other, I guess by this point. That literally like Vegeta gets upset because he's like, "Oh, I can't believe I've still lost to you." And Goku kind of tells him like to chill out and to like be happy that they both fought. And that's when they both kind of just talk about like why do they keep fighting. And that's when Goku kind of tells Vegeta like, you know, calm the fuck down because he tells him he's like, dude, there's probably someone like stronger than the both of us. And he's like, that's the reason why I keep fighting like you because the thing is like there has to be some guy that's stronger than both of us.
And then
Um,
it just shows like, Brawly or somebody, he's like watching them. Just a
oh my
hint
god,
that it's
that
him, right?
no, that would be so dumb. Like, no, it ends with them both celebrating because Vegeta kind of just chills out and he's like, yeah, I agree with you. That's a pretty like understandable like statement. So they both like smile, and then Goku turns into a kid, like the way he acts, and he just like starts cheering about how he can't wait. And then like you it transitions to like Chi-Chi on the other side of the world, and like she's talking about how she felt the earth shake and that it must be Goku and Vegeta. And she says that she's like disappointed in both of them because they were both trying so hard not to fight for like the past 10 years.
Dang, oh my God.
Yeah, so she's like, I knew that this would happen.
That's pretty funny. It's just like, nope,
So
they finally broke their fighting thing. That's pretty funny.
yeah, she's like, right, they're both fighting again. But yeah, that was the DLC. I thought it was pretty good.
Sounds simple, but sounds like it's pretty good. A lot of content, not bad, not bad.
Yeah. And then lastly, just to get this, because like I am, um, I've been making a game lately.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I've been
What do you mean? Like, well, what's the game? Or like, what do you mean?
so I'm making a game for a class. It's gonna be like a little demo because I'm learning how to like make stuff in general. It's gonna be a Legend of Jonathan game.
So, what's the game though?
It's gonna be like a platformer, and
Oh, cool. Nice.
yeah. So I was gonna do it like kind of like Zelda, but then I feel like it would just be more simple, I guess, to start off like the platformers first. Um, and so yeah, you kind of will just be able to like stomp on enemies. Maybe you might be able to like attack using like a button. And like for now, just to make it more simple, I guess it'll just be kind of like get from like one point to like the end. You know what I mean? Like start to finish. And I guess I'll just
Nice.
like start it off like that.
What are the enemies going to be? Like, what's your idea for like the game? I guess like what's the environment? What are the enemies? Stuff like that.
Well, for now, because I can't, I have very few time. I have very little time because this is kind of just like, like I think this is like due by like next like Thursday. And then the thing is like I need to like make the stuff and like all that other crap. For now, I'm just gonna probably use placeholder images. Um, for now, I just use Goombas because they're very simple. And then like the freaking my little icon is just kind of like the a little pixelated version of Link, but it's like the color swapped, so it's like red and all that stuff.
Okay. So it's pretty basic right now. You're just kind of doing like it's like a little demo, just a little thing for is it like for a class? I'm guessing. I don't remember if you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So right now it's just like a really basic thing just for class, but I'm guessing in the future you might consider, building off of it and stuff.
Just so I keep exploring how I make games and like, all that stuff.
Nice. That's pretty cool. What are you using to make it? Is it like Game Maker or like what are you using?
Um, so at first I was like I just kept exploring different options. I was like well, it's called like Python Pygame. I was gonna use Pygame and then I was gonna use Game Maker for something else, and I just kept going back and forth. For now, I am using Pygame. So that's what I'm using like right now, basically.
So what I'm understanding is you're using Unreal Engine. I'm just kidding.
Oh God. No,
So
not yet. I'm just
you're gonna be able to put this in Fortnite, is what I'm understanding.
no, not yet. That's like next year.
Oh god, next year.
I'm talking to him right now as we speak.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty funny. But that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Good luck with that. Hopefully it goes well. That's cool.
Thank you,
Nice.
thank you.
Is that it for
Um,
your week?
yeah.
All right, pretty cool. Watched some stuff, played some stuff, even creating your own game. Not bad, not bad. For me, I didn't do too much to talk about in terms of like watching stuff or like playing stuff. Not too much. I felt like this last week or two, it was kind of my it was about, touching grass, going outside and touching grass. I did some hiking with some friends during, one of these weeks, right? I had a chance to go out, do some hiking. Another week, I went to like a cultural festival in my city, and stuff like that. So I feel like it was a lot of kind of being away from home, doing some stuff, outside of the, consuming media. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of that. And then, like I said, being busy with, like work and editing and stuff like that. Uh, so didn't get to do too much, which is kind of disappointing. However, I did get to do one thing, which I thought was pretty cool. And it's something I had talked about being excited for, right? So I was able to, at least dip my toe into it, try it out a little bit. Didn't get too far, but at least I was able to, a little bit. And that's that I was able to play Penny's Big Breakaway.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, if you remember, we had been talking about on the podcast, like, oh, this game looks really cool. I hope it comes out soon, blah, blah, blah. It had been shown, like maybe like once or twice and, Nintendo Directs or, whatever. And yeah, I got to play it. And it was pretty cool. Like I said, it's not like I got super far to it. It was just a bit of, dipping my toe into, the gameplay. But I enjoyed what I played so far. Basically, it's about this world where there's this girl. She looks kind of like a jester or something. She's walking down the street and she sees this poster and she like grabs it off the wall. And it's something about like this big gala or whatever. And as you're walking around, it's kind of like a little tutorial. There's all these little citizens of this like city, little town or whatever. And they're talking
Yeah.
about how, oh, Emperor Eddie, he's always the one that performs at the gala or whatever, and no one else gets to perform. And it's so surprising that they're having like this like competition or whatever to see who's going to be like the next star or something like that, right? And so Penny seems like she's excited. She's heading towards the castle or whatever so she can try to do her thing with her yo-yo. And it is kind of weird
Yeah.
because she has like a normal yo-yo. And then like you run into like this thing in like an alley and suddenly like, the yo-yo's alive. And there's this
What the hell?
voice that says something about like, oh, the this like cosmic thread or something. I'm not too sure. It's kind of weird. It's not really explained from what I saw. Maybe because like maybe if you get farther, but it was really weird. It's like you saw that, but then it just cuts to like gameplay. So it's like, what does that mean? That mean? I'm not really sure what the bigger picture is. But whatever. Point is, her yo comes to life, has like a little mouth, right? Like it's like alive. And then you do a tutorial area, and the whole tutorial area is, learning the mechanics and getting to the castle for the little competition. And then when you get to the competition, Penny's doing her little performance or whatever, and people are actually cheering for her. Emperor Eddie seems to actually like it, like he's actually clapping and saying good job. But then Penny's yo-yo, it kind of like awakens, right? Like it comes to life, and it's like a
Yeah.
dog basically, right? And it like bites it attacks Emperor Eddie and like apparently like chews all his clothes off, so he's just left standing in his underwear, and he's all mad and saying for them to throw her like in prison or whatever for what she did. And from there, it's just about how like, oh, I guess she's like notorious now, and there's like wanted posters everywhere. And so you're just making. I was making my way through like the little city or whatever. And as you do, you're doing platforming, and you're helping people with their little tasks here and there. And the penguins from like the trailer, they chase you around and they try to like stop you from traveling, traversing the world. And if they like catch you, you get like a little game over sort of thing. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, that
Like I
sounds pretty
said, yeah, I
interesting.
haven't gone too far yet, but the gameplay seems pretty cool. There's a lot of platforming, combo sort of things, almost like a character action game where you can do like, string moves together, that sort of thing. Yeah, it's broken up in acts, kind of reminds me of Sonic, like Act 1, Act 2, stuff
Oh,
like
that's
that.
cool.
So the stages are like acts or whatever. And yeah, I didn't get too far into it, but from what I had played a little bit, I enjoy it. Gameplay's fun, visuals are pretty good. The little story seems charming so far, even though I'm not really too sure where it's going yet. So I was having a fun time with it, and I recommend it. I'm really glad that the game's out, and I really want to get back into it. And I'm hoping people play it and it gets attention because it's fun. We had talked about having more of these like 3D platformer adventure type
Hmm.
games. Especially because yeah, it's like a platformer, but also has like I said, like kind of like the character action with like the combos and stuff you can do. So I just hope that it does well, and I hope it becomes a big thing, like some of those 3D platformers we had talked about. You know what I mean? But I guess only time will tell how well it does. But I had fun with it, and I liked it, and I definitely want to get back in and stuff. So pretty cool stuff.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. And that's basically it. Like I said, didn't do too much. It was just played some of Penny's Big Breakaway, did some stuff, away from consuming media, and I've just been really busy besides that. So that is it for my week. Pretty short this time.
Nice, though.
Yeah. Alrighty, moving on to the news. We have some pretty big news stories, especially. I would say they're all pretty big in their own way, actually. The first two are kind of big in the sense, though, that they're full presentations, though. A lot of news that came from each of them. So when it comes to the first one, as the title of the article states, everything announced in a Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase. So by the time this goes up, the partner showcase will have been, a while back, but I still wanted to cover it because obviously we missed last week when it kind of happened around that time.
Hmm.
But yeah, Nintendo, they didn't have like a direct where they announced any, Nintendo like first party, any of that type of stuff. But they did have a little partner showcase, which is only talk about all the different third party games, a lot of the indies coming to the system. And I'm not going to go over all of them. Obviously, link will be in the description below. You guys can check it out for yourself. It's like a full list and all that. But I'll just kind of go over some of them. So I thought it was really interesting that the direct, if I remember correctly, it opened with them talking about the games from Microsoft that are coming to the Switch. For a while now, we've been
Hmm.
talking about, okay, I think one of the last times that we were, doing a podcast, we talked about, okay, Microsoft said that there's going to be some of their exclusives coming to other systems. And sure enough, they revealed that Grounded, which is the game that looks kind of like a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, right? About the kids that are tiny in the backyard.
Hmm.
That and this game called Pentiment, those are apparently coming to Switch very soon. So it was kind of cool. That's like, okay, there's some games from Microsoft coming to the Switch, and it's still, rumored there's going to be more. So that's kind of cool, I guess. It'll be interesting to see, where that goes, that partnership, right? The whole Microsoft pouring their games. It'll be interesting to see where that goes. Then from there was a lot of games, some that, I think look cool, some that I'm not really into, whatever. When it comes to games that I thought were really interesting, one of them was that there's going to be a new Monkey Ball. So that's kind of cool. That Monkey Ball's still going, but they announced there's going to be a new Monkey Ball called Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble. I thought that was kind of cool. Then there's a sequel to World of Goo. Kind of reminds me, World of Goo is kind of like, it feels these little goo creatures. It's kind of like Lemmings, where you have to like make it from like one end to the other, right? It's kind of like that style of gameplay, like a puzzle sort of thing. World of Goo 2 is apparently also coming to Switch, so that's also kind of cool. Then there was a game called Another Crab's Treasure, which is kind of interesting. Like the way they describe it and like the gameplay, it's like if it was like a Souls-like, but with a little crab that apparently like they stole his shell or something like that. And so he's just trying to like get it back, and he's like traversing like, everywhere and like fighting enemies. And apparently you can put like different things on as a shell, like, like a can or, like stuff like that. And it'll give you like different like buffs or whatever. So I thought like that was really interesting.
That is pretty interesting.
And then of course, that's where they revealed that Penny's Big Breakaway was out that same day. So I thought that was pretty cool. They're like, oh man, like this game came out like the exact same day they announced it. I thought that was really cool. And then the really big one is that they revealed that there is a remake of Epic Mickey. It's called Epic Mickey Rebrushed. So that was pretty cool. And
That was
unfortunately,
super cool.
yeah, they didn't really reveal like when it's coming out. They just said sometime in 2024. But that was definitely very surprising. I was like, that is pretty cool,
That is awesome, yeah.
Yeah. It's really crazy too, because with how Disney doesn't have that video game studio anymore, it's really interesting to see like, oh yeah, it's being made by THQ Nordic, and it's kind of like interesting. I'm like, oh, so I guess Disney's like giving them the license to like make the game or whatever. Like, I don't know, it's just really interesting. I was just like, people were really surprised. I think it was definitely one of, if not like the big announcement for this direct, showcase thingy. And it's really interesting. Like, damn, that's really cool. I really would not mind playing this game again when it comes out, because I played the original 2 games on, the Wii. It'd be really cool to, play this when it comes out and to see how different it is, see what this might mean for the series, if anything, stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I would definitely give it a try. I'm very hyped for it.
Yeah, it's just really cool because it's not just like a remaster, it's like a full-on remake.
That's what I'm saying. It's a
I know the original had some issues, especially with like camera was kind of weird, stuff like that. So it'll definitely be cool to see how this new version turns out. And like I said, if this means anything, like where they also going to do the second game, what will this lead to? So pretty cool stuff. But yeah, it just kind of sucks that they didn't have like a release date. Just sometime 2024. And you never know if it could get like pushed back too. But hey, that's still pretty cool. So pretty good stuff,
Yeah.
Were you gonna say something else? It's something I might have accidentally cut you off. It sounds like you're gonna maybe more thoughts on the
No,
game.
I just said yeah.
Cool. All right, so that's it for the Nintendo Partner Showcase. Like I said, you guys can look at the description. It'll have the link, and you can see all of the announcements they made because there's definitely more. But that's kind of you're free to check that out yourself. Then jumping over to the other little direct little showcase thing that I was talking about. It was funny because they announced basically both at the same time. Not only was there going to be the Nintendo Partner Showcase, but they also said there was going to be a Pokemon Presents just like a few days later because of Pokemon Day. And this one, I will admit, the majority of it was pretty underwhelming. They did the usual thing where they just talked about a lot of updates for like the mobile stuff, right? So here's updates for the mobile stuff. Here's, raids for Scarlet and Violet, stuff like that. Like the big majority of it wasn't that interesting. Or at least not interesting to me. Here's like the card game that's gonna be coming to mobile, stuff like that, which I was kind of like, okay. But then the last thing that they talked about, like right at the very end, they're like, one more thing, and they showed a little teaser trailer for it. I think this is what most people are excited for, is that they revealed a new game called Pokemon Legends ZA. And basically, a lot of people have been thinking of following the trends. They're like, okay, it's gonna be, we're probably getting some sort of a remake of Black and White, of the Unova region, because it looks like they're going, gen by gen, doing these remakes. But then no, you're looking at the teaser trailer, and it's showing that it takes place in Lumiose City, which is a part of X and Y. So that's really interesting. That number one, they jumped over Black and White, they jumped over Unova, so that's really interesting. Number two, the fact that it's called ZA. So there had always been that rumor of how they're gonna make how they had always been making like the third game, right? And with Black and White, they didn't make a third game, but they did make a sequel, so that was different, right? So for X and Y, the question was, are they gonna make the third game, or are they gonna make like a sequel? And for the longest time, it looked like they were going to make a game called Z, which is supposed to be the third version. That never happened. So it's so crazy to see them circle back around. And now we're getting Pokemon Legends ZA. So that's very interesting, right? And not only that, but people were also really happy because not only are we getting that Z game that we never got back in the day, but it looks like we are continuing with the Legends spin-off series. Because you know how Legends Arceus was like really cool, and it was really awesome how they had all this different gameplay, and it was like a breath of fresh air, right? And people were like, "Oh, I really hope it wasn't just a one-off thing. Like, I hope we get more Legends games." And sure enough, it looks like this might be a thing that they're gonna continue with in the future because Pokemon Legends ZA, and that's really cool, right? And then finally, the last thing that got people a lot of people really excited, You know how every new game has had like a different gimmick, right? Gigantamax, and the crystallized forms, blah blah. They showed a little part where it looks like that we are going back to the Mega Evolutions.
Fine.
Huh?
I said finally.
Yeah. So a lot of people were like, "Oh man, I really missed the Mega Evolutions." Because out of all the gimmicks, I think Mega Evolutions were the best one, honestly. Because the other ones are cool, but I think Mega Evolutions have been like the best one, honestly, out of all the gimmicks, right? So the fact that we're going back to Mega Evolutions, so you can imagine that people are like really hyped for this.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah, because Legends series, getting that Z game we never got back in the day, Mega Evolutions returning, all that good stuff. And it looks really interesting because after the little partner showcase, people were looking at, I don't remember if it was like a Japanese translation or English thing from a description somewhere or something, but something about how, it's Pokemon Legends ZA, and that there was like a little part where it said something like Legends ZA Lumiose City Adventure, and that something about how it's going to take place entirely in Lumiose City. So it's like, oh, that's really interesting because that means it's not going to be the whole region. Like it's going to be centered in the city. And like, how would they make a whole game out of that? I'm not really sure, but they did make the city look very futuristic, right? And with it being a Legends game, think about Arceus and how the gameplay was so different from what we had seen before. So maybe they're really going to introduce something very different or like approach the game very differently. That way, even though it's only in the city, there'll still be like a lot to do, and it'll have like its own story based on that, just that like futuristic urban setting, right? So like that's really interesting. All the speculation there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But really good stuff. I think that's really exciting. I'm hoping it ends up being like a really good game. Obviously everybody has high hopes, but so far it looks really cool. A lot of good little details just from what we've seen so far. I think it's really funny that the other game was in the past. This looks like it's going to be in the future. That seems like a really interesting gimmick, or that has the potential to be a really interesting gimmick. So I don't know what to expect, but I mean, they did say 2025, so it's still a bit of ways off. So it'll be interesting to see what this ends up being. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to take place in the future.
yeah, because a lot of people are thinking that things looked very futuristic, but and it would make sense too if the other one was in the past. It would make sense for this one to be like a jump to the future, but like who knows, obviously, right?
Yeah.
What about you? Are you excited to play this game, or you're just kind of more about it? What are your thoughts on it?
Um, I mean, considering that it's in the Kalos region, technically, I am a bit more hyped, but I never played Arceus. So at the same time, my like whole like excitement for it isn't really there either, I'll be honest. Because I never played Arceus, so you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. All
So
right.
yeah, I would probably have to play that one and then be like, oh well, if I like this one, then I'll like this one more, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Although then who again, who knows? Because who knows what gimmick, what gameplay they'll have for this one. It might not even have anything to really
Hmm.
do with Arceus. So you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I hope it's just a good game. I hope that they really have taken notes from people, trashing and criticizing all their stuff and how like badly they've done some of these moves. I hope they really
Yeah.
do take the time to really build this up and take a page out of Arceus and just have like interesting, different gameplay and stuff. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I hope it actually ends up being pretty good.
yeah, I hope so too. And yeah, there you go, guys. 2025. There's still some time. Let's hope that they, put some time into this. Definitely don't try to rush it, that sort of thing. And let's hope it's a good game, So far everyone's excited, and I'll admit I am too. And hopefully our excitement isn't in vain. Hopefully it pays off, So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, before moving on, I was going to mention the whole future thing. All I could think of when I heard people saying, "Oh, it looks futuristic, future, this and that," it just reminded me. I just kept thinking about the stupid SpongeBob meme, "Future, future." And
Yeah.
there's this Pokemon Future Edition. I just kept remembering that. I don't know why. It just kept coming to mind. Just like future. I don't know, man. Anyway,
Okay.
moving on. There is some anime news, a couple of anime news stories. The first one's pretty brief, but it's just something I'm excited for. It's a little, reveal slash announcement sort of thing. As the title of the article states, Near Automata version 1.1a anime second part to air this year. So if anyone remembers, talked about the Near Automata anime and how, man, that first part, that first season, whatever you want to call it, it just had such a troubled development with, the COVID, slowing it down. And then the actor strike got in the way of the dub coming out because even after the Japanese, version finally came out, right? It just took
Hmm.
forever for that English dub to come out because of the actor strike. Apparently that got in the way. So I don't know, just so many things just kept coming up and being in the way of this successfully coming out, right? It just took forever. Like I was looking at the story, like if you read down, it literally says the first core of the anime premiered in January 2023.
Yeah.
So it took almost a whole year for the whole thing to come out. That's crazy.
Hmm. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, it's nuts, right? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, apparently it got, it's revealed, it was announced that we are gonna get the second part, second season, where you want to call it. It's gonna come out this year. So that's pretty cool. They didn't say exactly when, but it is coming. And yeah, I don't know. I really liked it. I thought it was really well done. Obviously, I still think playing the game is its own experience, man. Like the way some of the things that that game does is unique to the medium of video games, right? Like some of the stuff, like the key points, right?
Yeah.
It's just stuff that they can't replicate because it's tied to playing a video game. But even then, I still think this is a good companion piece where I just think the way they adapted the story and all the stuff, I thought it was really well done. And, I am just excited to see more of this and to see where this goes, especially because they've made little changes here and there that are really interesting. So I think it'll be really interesting to see what other changes they make. And not only that, but for a while now, Yoko Taro, the creator, the director, he's been hinting at some sort of other project, right? Like we don't know if it's going to be like a near three or where this is going, but he seems to be hinting at something else with this like series, with this franchise. And I think it'll be really interesting if maybe we get some sort of a hint or some sort of like a tie-in in the anime or see how that
Hmm.
ties into supposedly the future of this franchise and stuff. So I don't know. I'm just excited. It's just, I enjoy the anime. I think it's really well done. I like this series, this franchise. I think it's a really well done, series or whatever. And so I'm just excited to see more and to see where it goes. Even if it were to follow the game, beat by beat, I still think it's really cool seeing it animated. You know what I mean? So I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm just really excited, and I just can't wait to see when we get more information about when it's coming because all they said was 2024. So it'll just be really cool to see when it finally comes out. And man, again, it's just one of those things where I think the English voice acting is just really well done. I think that the people who play 2B and 9S, Kira Buckland and Kyle McCartney, I forget what his name is. I think it's McCarley. They're just really, man, they do a really good job. Like they really knock it out of the park. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times it's like, oh, just watch the subbed version, right? But this is one of those dub versions that it's just really, really well done. So can't recommend it enough, basically.
Nice.
Yep, yep, yep. And finally, our last news story, another piece of anime news, another one that I feel is just directly tailored to me, something I'm excited for. I've been talking about for a while. And so gave me even more like, got me even more hyped. But everyone knows we've been talking about Bunny Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. We've talked about it several times on the podcast. We've talked about how, there was like the movie that came out. There's three movies at this point. I watched the first one that came out. Second one, haven't really watched it. I don't even know if it's available to watch, outside Japan. But I'm not that excited because it's based on arc that not too much happens. And then the third one is the one that came out like in December, I think. That's the one I am excited for. And I've been waiting, when is it going to get like a release outside of Japan, blah, 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 blah. Finally, this, week, we got a little update reveal announcement sort of thing that, as it says here, Aniplex USA confirmed in a trailer on Tuesday that it has presented a double feature screening for Rascal Does Not Dream of a Sister Venturing Out and Rascal Does Not Dream of a Knapsack Kid, the two films in the sequel anime project for, Rascal Does Not Dream light novel series. It's going to come out in USA theaters on March 24th and 25th.
Down.
Yeah, so even though I don't really, I mean, I might check out that second movie. That's the one that the sister venturing out. Even though it's not one that I'm like super like, I want to watch it or whatever, blah blah. It's the knapsack kid one that I do want to see because that's the one that kind of has like more actual story, right? Like I feel like it matters a bit more. The fact that it's a double feature, sure, I wouldn't mind watching this double feature and watching both of them together. Like, why not? And then it's kind of cool because basically it said there's going to be the subbed screening on March 24th, and then the English dub on March 25th. So that's why it gives the two dates basically.
Yeah.
So pretty cool, honestly. It's pretty cool that this series just keeps going, and it's pretty cool that people have been wondering. Okay, these came out in Japan. When is everyone outside of Japan going to get some? Get a chance to watch these, right? When are they going to get this opportunity? And it's kind of cool that they're finally, moving forward where, March 24th and 25th. One is the sub version, one is the dubbed version. It's going to be a double feature, which is pretty cool. Kill two birds with one stone. Instead of having to watch one or then the other, it's just, you get both in one package. So that's something that I would definitely like to go and see if it's possible. I definitely, when I'm like marking on my calendar, I would really like to take advantage of this and go watch this double feature in theaters. But it'll obviously remain to be seen if I'll be able to. But like I said, this got me really hyped. I'm like, that is really, really cool. So,
Yeah, that does sound pretty cool.
Yeah, and obviously it's a good time to watch these movies to get caught up because if you remember, we also had like another news story a while back where we're like, oh, it looks like those like a little announcement. We had like some key art about how it looks like they're continuing forward with the
Hmm.
series. Remember, they're gonna get like another anime season too, right? Because it was like a first anime season, then the three movies, and then we finally got like, oh yeah, there's gonna be like another anime season. It's gonna be like about them like in college and stuff. So it's a good time to catch up as well before whenever that next arc is coming, that next anime series is dropping. So I don't know. As a fan, it's just like a good time right now. It's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
So good stuff, good stuff. So as I said, I feel like this week there was just a lot of things in the news that got me excited. The Nintendo Direct stuff, though, some games I want to play. Pokemon Presents, I was excited for the new Legends, spin-off, the Nier Automata anime continuing, this movie double feature. So, man, it feels like there's just a lot of stuff to be excited for coming up in the next year or two. So, pretty good stuff. I'm really happy about that. Really hyped up. So,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
yeah. Alrighty, guys, and there you have it. So that is it for the news for this week. You heard my thoughts about it. I think there's a lot of stuff to look forward to. Hopefully, anyone listening to this, hopefully you guys are as excited as I'm. Hopefully, you guys are as excited as I am. Hopefully, I'm not the only one over here getting hyped. Hopefully, some people are also looking forward to some stuff. Hopefully, people are also marking their calendars and keep an eye out for these things that seem like they're coming within the next year or two. All that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with that being said, that is going to be it for this week. No topic of the week, no recommendation this week. We wanted to keep it a bit shorter if possible. So there you go. We've been having some very long podcasts lately. The one last
Hmm.
week, or 2 weeks ago was super long, right? So,
Yeah.
so short one this week, but there you go. Not too sure what your thoughts are. Do you have anything that you think you might try to bring to the table next podcast? Any ideas
I,
or
I'm 100% not sure. I definitely don't know what I'm going to do, honestly. I'll be honest with you. Yeah.
yeah, me neither. Honestly, yeah, these are getting a little hard to do. I feel like I'm just like really busy and yeah, just trying
Hmm.
to always like bring stuff to the table can get kind of hard, you know what I mean? Like I know it's not like we're forced to, but just having like, oh, I only like did like one thing or whatever, it always just feels kind of like limiting, you know what I mean? So I gotta admit, I can't really think of anything either. Yeah, I can't really think of anything either. Having to be honest, I guess it'll have to be one of those surprises where, next week we'll see what we bring to the table. Like I'm sure there'll be stuff. I mean, there's always stuff to watch and play, and but I have no idea either. So, there you have it. It looks like for both of us, it's kind of a big question mark right now. So.
Yeah.
But there you go, guys. That's going to be it for this podcast. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed listening to it. Hopefully, you guys had a good time. And like I said, hopefully, there's some stuff that you guys are looking forward to watching, playing, etc. in the future. And that is going to be it for us. We will try our hardest to be back next week. We will see how that goes. And until then, we are out. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Bye bye.